somehow we only have 5 days left until the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. Man, time definitely flies by, and it really feels like Christmas for us right now, as we're literally getting ready for probably one of the biggest Nintendo Directs of all time. After Nintendo just gave us a small one with Switch 1 games, it's definitely time to see what their big stuff is and what they've been planning for so many years now. But I've been holding out on my Switch 2 predictions and what I'm actually expecting from this show, because I wanted Nintendo to actually get out everything they possibly could before this show. And of course, there was a last-minute Switch 1 Direct. But with that out of the way, it's now officially time to try to predict what this show is going to even be about and how it's actually going to be structured. But before that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Filmora from Wondershare. Filmora is a quick, easier, and user-friendly editing software to make your videos in. Filmora is a sleek, modernized video editing software that you can download on both Mac and Windows PC. And it's also powered by AI, and no, not in the bad way. It actually helps to enhance your photo or video to make it look crisper, cleaner, or maybe add some cool effects to it. For instance, one really cool feature is it actually is able to generate its own unique background music for your videos, where you can make new background music literally every single video that's not copyright striked. Like I said before, it's such an easy thing to get into for your first time. This can be one of the more daunting things when it comes to downloading a new video editing software, and trying to learn everything could take upwards to weeks, maybe even months. But as I just downloaded this, it only took me literally 30 minutes to pretty much understand all the basics. What I've covered so far is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other transitions and AI-powered elements to really bump up your creative ability. Not to mention, it comes with a free trial, and there's also hotline support directly to the call center in case you have any questions or problems with the software. So why not try out Filmora for free and see how you like it by clicking the link down in the description below. Filmora is the perfect video editor to start your content creation journey. And once again, huge thanks to Filmora for sponsoring today's video. Today's question comes from The One and states, if you could choose 5 dead Nintendo game series / franchises, which ones would you bring back, like Chibi Robo? So real quick to run through these, I would have to agree, I would definitely go Chibi Robo. I missed the one for the GameCube. I sold it when I was a kid because I had to sell my older games, but man, it's so expensive and hard to find nowadays. Like, I really want that game back, so seeing Chibi Robo return would be great. Kid Icarus, I think, definitely would count because he's only had like a, modern game on the 3DS, and we haven't seen anything since then. Please bring Kid Icarus back. Punch-Out as well has last appeared on the Wii. I would love to see a new modern take of this. And Ice Climbers I know is a weird one, but I feel like it's a series that Nintendo could actually really do something with. Like having a 3D platformer where you're just scaling a giant mountain, and each level is you going up the mountain and stuff with enemies to fight like condors and polar bears. Could be really cool. And then we have F-Zero. I was going to do Star Fox, but I don't think that one's quite dead right now. It just came out on the Wii U, so not too bad. But F-Zero, without a doubt, needs some type of revival. And for an honorable mention, I would say Fluidity. I love this game on the Wii and the 3DS, and it's just one of those unique games that I would love to see return. Only 4 questions left until we reach the Switch 2 Direct, so make sure you comment your Switch 2 hype question by commenting the words hype in all cap, followed by your question. So what do we expect from this show? Well, I'm expecting this to be about an hour in length, and it seems like some people are hinting at it actually being an hour online. I guess Best Buy of Canada actually already leaked that apparently pre-orders are going to go live, at least for Best Buy, on April 2nd, which is literally the day of the show. So probably right after the show, all pre-orders everywhere are going to go live. And I think also they leaked something about the show being like an hour long or something like that. So a lot of people are thinking about an hour, which matches that of the Switch 1 presentation. So that was plenty of enough time for Nintendo to kind of get out all their information. In fact, I can tell you how long that actually all went down. Nintendo spent around 15 minutes in total kind of going over the hardware. Now, this is different because this upcoming Switch 2 Direct is a pre-recorded Direct, where the Switch 1 presentation had pre-recorded trailers, but they still had live segments of developers coming out on stage and talking about the console and talking about their games. So I chopped it down to just the trailers of the console themselves that they showed, and it was about 5.5 minutes of actual pre-rendered footage of the console. We know they're not going to show us the same things that they showed us with Switch 1 with Switch 2, because we know about Joy-Con, we know how they attach, we know how it works, we know how we hold them and stuff. So, they'll really be focusing on everything that's new, like any new UI, gimmicks, or things coming like accessories. So I wouldn't expect them to go over 10 minutes. So I'm saying around 7 to 10 minutes of maybe just dedicated trailers talking about the actual console. Now, the next 50 minutes of the show, yeah, that's a lot, was all dedicated to games. Now, it was just about 2 to 3 minute trailers for each game, but they also had developers come out and talk about each game in depth, which I don't necessarily think is going to happen this time around. I think they're just going to keep it to the trailers and then maybe for like a quick 30 seconds have a recap of what we just saw, and maybe talk about, you could learn more in a treehouse afterwards, or maybe learn more, you know, in its own direct next month or something like that. I don't think they're going to have people come out and dive into these games. They're just going to give us quick looks, one game after the next after the next. So honestly, I don't see it going over like 25 to 30 minutes of just showing trailers of big first-party games, maybe a couple smaller ones, and then a couple huge third-party games as well. So with that said, I think they might actually just go with a normal 45-minute show. And I know a lot of people might want it to be longer because they think longer is better, but not necessarily. It would just be a lot of filler. And I don't know, maybe it could be an hour. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But I think another thing that leads to this is the fact that we've had a Switch 1 Direct already, so they got all those games announced from their third-party partners that they needed to, and all their small stuff announced for like 2026 for some reason. So I think they're set to have nothing but huge banger after huge banger after huge banger. And that doesn't necessarily need an hour-long presentation unless they're revealing like tons of big third-party games. I don't know, because yeah, I expect there to be a lot of really good first-party software games like 3D Mario, Mario Kart and stuff, but not to the extent of like 6 or 7 of them. So yeah, I don't know what the rest of that time is going to be spent with. So I'd say right around 45 minutes sounds really good, and probably even on the longer side. But what am I expecting from the games? We could talk about hardware like crazy, from all the leaked, you know, Joy-Con mouse mode and all the functions it could have and UI they could show off. But I'm more interested in the games. I think that's the most exciting part for me, is seeing what's the next generation of games going to look like. Because we pretty much just got confirmed from Nintendo themselves that we will have Switch 2 exclusive games, meaning we can only play these games on Switch 2, and also Switch 2 enhanced games, meaning that some games from Switch 1 will be able to be enhanced on Switch 2. So let's start talking about that now. If you would have asked me yesterday after the Direct, I would have told you that there was no way we were seeing Metroid Prime 4 in the Switch 2 Direct, because they've already shown off a brand new trailer literally 5 days before it in the Switch 1 Direct. Why would they show it again? What else would they show? But after reading the article of Nintendo talking about Switch 2 exclusive and edition games, I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be one of those Switch 2 edition games. You can buy it on Switch 1, or you can get the Switch 2 edition, which just makes it look a lot better. And I think this is a perfect game for them to show us why people want to buy a Switch 2 instead of the Switch 1. Show us Metroid Prime 4 running on the Switch, and then show it running on Switch 2, and show the difference in how actually much better it is with the graphics, with the frame rate, and actually get people seeing the side-by-side comparisons. And I think they'll use a lot of games to probably show that off as well. Maybe Breath of the Wild is one of those Switch 2 edition games. We've been hearing rumors that Breath of the Wild was going to get some type of 4K edition. Maybe this is all that is. It's just like they release a version of Breath of the Wild that's a Switch 2 edition version, or maybe there's some type of patch upgrade that can upgrade older games that I'm hoping for, upgrading Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, making those games look better and run better on Switch 2. They could do the same thing with Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion 3, other games on Switch 1 as well. Would be really cool. So either way, I think we're getting a big deep dive into Metroid Prime 4. I think we're going to see a trailer that shows off just everything that's fascinating and amazing about the game. That's why we didn't get a release date in the trailer that we got in the Switch 1 Direct. It just said 2025. So I think we're about to get an actual release date. I think they're going to show off, you know, the 2 different versions. I think this is a great way for them to show how powerful Switch 2's version is compared to Switch 1. I'm saying this game is going to be either a cross launch between Switch 1 and Switch 2 on like actual launch day title, or it's going to be a couple months after launch. Of course, the only other game that we know about right now for Switch 2 is the brand new Mario Kart game. I think this is going to be one of the first games that we actually see, and I still think it is going to be a launch title that comes out as soon as the console drops around May or June timeframe, and I think it is going to look amazing. I can't wait to see what they're going to show off with this 24-player races. I am mostly looking for the gimmick, like what's the new change, what is that magical floating bag of food by that Yoshi's Burger joint? what is going to be different about this game? I want to see the tracks. I want to see new characters that make me kind of surprised that these characters have actually made it. I want to see something that really blows my mind, and I want to see those graphics really shown off, the game just looking super crisp. There's not much else to say. We know we're getting new Mario Kart content like 100%, so finally, it's just super exciting. I also just really want to know the title. So, of course, we'll get the title, the release date. I think it will be a bundled release with the Switch 2. If there aren't any bundles, it'll just simply be a launch title, and this game's going to sell like freaking mad. As far as the release date, I once again think it's going to be a launch title, but if it's not, also shortly after, around the summertime. Of course, another lock for sure, 3D Mario. It's finally time, guys. In 5 days, I do 100% believe we will see the next 3D Mario game. It's been 8 years. Nintendo has been saving and waiting for this very specific moment for the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. We're finally going to see what they've been working on, and honestly, I am fully expecting this to be an open world 3D Mario game with platforming challenges all around this vast new world, and I think it is going to be like the Breath of the Wild for this Switch. It really is going to be the biggest, best game, the big holiday title that everyone is waiting for. This is going to be massive, and I can't wait to see what they've been cooking up. Bowser's Fury has shown us that Nintendo does want to push Mario into more of an open world instead of just the open sandbox games like 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey, and I think that's the best route because almost everyone loved Bowser's Fury. It did a really great thing by allowing you to explore Lake Lapcat at your own leisure when you unlocked new islands, but also didn't make the collectibles like the moons in Super Mario Odyssey super easy and pointless to find. You actually had to work for each one and do fun, cool platforming challenges to get them, and that's exactly what this new game could be. Imagine Breath of the Wild, but without the shrines, you actually just have platforming challenges that Mario goes into, and this could be so much fun. So this is my personal biggest game that I could ever wish for and hope for this show, so clearly I'm going to be popping off for this thing. I cannot wait to see what they've been cooking up. One thing that I don't see too many people talking about is the fact that we'll probably see Luigi's Mansion very, very soon. Luigi's Mansion 3 was massively successful on the Switch, being one of the best-selling games, believe it or not. It sold amazingly well, so I'm sure Next Level Games have already been put at work on the next Luigi's Mansion, and not to mention, Luigi's Mansion 3 is honestly one of the best, if not the best looking games on Nintendo Switch right now. Between that and like Metroid Prime Remastered, both of those games look phenomenal. So I feel like a game like Luigi's Mansion 4 is going to be used to showcase exactly how good this next console is going to be. Like, how good are these graphics actually going to bump up? And I really hope to see Luigi's Mansion here. The gameplay is vastly different from anything like 3D Mario, so it's more puzzle, you know, ghost catching. So I would love to see them show off the next Luigi's Mansion. I think it's more likely than a lot of people think. It's been 5 years, so it's definitely time. Could they pull it off already? I think there's a good chance. Now, if it does come out this year, I can definitely see it coming out around the same time it did originally, being right around Halloween, or maybe even, you know, on the same week as Halloween. So something like that could work out really well. So right before the 3D Mario, you get yourself a brand new Luigi's Mansion game. I know with this one, a lot of people are going to start saying, okay, you're just noticing big franchises and then putting them as coming out for Switch 2. No, not necessarily. Considering the fact that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out at the end of 2018. It's been a very long time. It's definitely time to see or maybe just hear about the next Smash Brothers game. So maybe it doesn't release this year, or if it does, maybe it's also in December like it did with Ultimate at the very, very end of the year, or maybe just the beginning of next year. They could easily just say, hey, there's a Smash Brothers game in development, because I think there are going to be at least 2 or 3 games that they announce that they don't show us much of, but just say, hey, this is coming. Kind of like a Tears of the Kingdom thing. Like, hey, there's this game. It's not coming until next year, but just keep your eyes peeled and get ready for it. You know, at least getting us hyped for it. And I think Smash Brothers can be one of them. You definitely want something like a Smash Brothers within the first couple of years of the console, because you want it to continue with DLC and updates and stuff like that. And it's something that's going to be played by people for years to come. Like, me and my friends are still playing Ultimate and Mario Kart 8. So yeah, you're going to want that content to be pushed out and get that announced pretty early. And I think it's actually relatively time. I'm hoping it's a soft reboot, kind of reworking all the characters. Actually, if anything, I hope it's a hard reboot. Chopping the roster down, giving us a proper story mode again like Subspace, and also just giving all these characters really nice fleshed out movesets like Mario, Link, Samus, just upgrading all these past, you know, series staples characters first, and then moving on to some newer characters and some more first-party characters too would be really, really great. But I do think there is a chance we could at least get a tease for the next Smash Brothers game. You do know Sakurai has been working on something for at least a couple of years and actually sent in a proposal that got approved from Nintendo to be working on something. He actually told us this on his YouTube channel, so we know Sakurai's working on something, whether it's like Kid Icarus, something else entirely different, or Smash Brothers. I think it's Smash. We know Smash is coming. It's just one of those huge franchises that must continue. Something else that was extremely popular on Switch, Animal Crossing. It's actually one of the top 5 best-selling Nintendo Switch games, so clearly this is a game Nintendo's going to want to capitalize on. After New Horizons, they want to keep it going, so I would expect there to be some type of big Animal Crossing within the first 2 years of Switch 2. Also, this way they can also have tons of updates in more than just 1 year of updates this time around, so they can continue to pump out content into this game for many years to come. But this is something that I'm definitely expecting. You know, New Horizons was in 2020, so it's been about 5 years. We're definitely due for a new Animal Crossing game, and I can see this being one of the bigger, more calmer reveals compared to something that's more, you know, action-packed or high intensity like 3D Mario, Metroid Prime, Mario Kart. This is something more for the relaxing players. As far as when this will come out, I can see it actually hitting the kind of fall season, right around August or September would make a lot of sense. I feel like Zelda has to be here in some capacity. I feel like we definitely will see something like a remake or a remaster of some sort, but definitely not a new game. I mean, they could give us a super early tease like they did with Tears of the Kingdom, showing us the game like for the first time in 2019. Look how long it would take to come out. So hopefully they don't actually do something like that. I think they might as well just wait to show off the next Zelda game. And for now, just give us like a big remake. I think some of the rumors right now have been like a big remake of Ocarina of Time would be really, really cool. Also going back to that traditional level of Zelda, and fans would eat this remake up. It'd probably be one of the best-selling remakes ever. So hopefully Nintendo does something like that. I think it'd be worthwhile to see the graphics on some old game like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. But I can see a world where they end up just saying, hey, Breath of the Wild is in fact going to have an Switch 2 special edition that allows you to play the game that looks better, and it's going to make me sad because I'm tired of that world. I hope that's not the case, or like if it's anything, I hope it's just like a free update for people that already bought the first game. Like if you have Breath of the Wild on Switch 1, you can play it on Switch 2 and it's now enhanced. Like I hope we don't have to go out and pay for Breath of the Wild again, because I'll be mad, and I hope that's not the only Zelda-related reveal, because I love Breath of the Wild to death. It's one of my favorite games ever. I'm tired of that world already. With Tears of the Kingdom, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, I'm ready to move on to the next story for Zelda. But this also feels like something that could release earlier on in the life cycle of Switch 2. I'm talking like a couple of months afterwards, late spring, early summer. I feel like we're also going to get a surprise Nintendo game. Something like a Nintendo Land, or even what we got with the Switch, being 1-2 Switch. I hope it's not that. I hope it's an actual game like Nintendo Land was, because that game was awesome. But some type of like compilation, maybe like a Wii Party, or but a Switch Party this time around. Maybe like a Switch Sports Resort, or a Switch Sports 2, something that's actually good this time around. Or just something else quirky and weird and goofy that Nintendo makes. I definitely feel like we'll see something like that. And that will probably launch with the Switch as well, or literally just days after. And then my crazy pie-in-the-sky wish, I'm going to say we get a Star Fox game. It's been since Star Fox Zero on the Wii U. I think they've been cooking up something new, something fascinating, something maybe even along the lines of Starlink Battle for Atlas, because a lot of people say that's like the best Star Fox game, and it's not even a Star Fox game. So yeah, I think we might see something along those lines, which would be so cool. Could you imagine a big surprise of a huge, ambitious Star Fox game to start the Switch 2 life cycle, and everybody just loves it, and it ends up just boosting the series in popularity? Oh, I would love that so much. So I hope something like that is being planned, some type of revival of an older franchise, or maybe a franchise that people deem to be dead, or maybe even like a new Kid Icarus Uprising. I'm just saying, man, come on, Sakurai would love it. Sakurai could do it. Give us a new Kid Icarus, Nintendo. Plus, Nintendo needs some more online multiplayer games, and they have like the Angel Battle Online, so they could definitely do something like that with just like a remake of Uprising, or just a straight up new game. But yeah, I would love to see something like that, and I think the graphics could really show off how good this game could look. And I'm thinking around there is going to be pretty good. Of course, not everything is going to happen, but I think a good chunk of those could actually become a reality. And I know a lot of people are like, you're missing franchises like Kirby and, you know, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade. Not necessarily. I just don't feel like it's time for those yet. Like, we just got Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I don't think it's time for a new Fire Emblem yet unless it's some type of remake or remaster. I feel like Splatoon hasn't even had enough time to cook as it releasing at the end of 2022. Forgotten Land also released at the beginning of 2022, so I don't think we see anything Kirby here. But who knows? Anything could happen. This is Nintendo's biggest show they've had in the last 8 years. This is going to be a fun ride, and I can't wait to see what games they surprise us with, if I got any of these correct or if none of them are correct. Maybe we don't get anything. I'm kidding. It's going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait. But let me know in the comments down below, what reveals are you most excited for and planning to see, and what reveals do you think we're actually going to get? What sounds the most likely to actually happen? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out. Guys, 5 more days. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.